My name is Rob Ruiz. I am the lead organizer of a local meetup group called WP Omaha. I'm a professional WordPress software engineer or WordPress developer, web designer, graphic designer, lots of things really. Video editing, audio production, music production, all sorts of stuff. So I know everything WordPress. I've been using WordPress for about probably closer to 10 years now. And I've been doing actual WordPress plugin development for a solid, I want to say 6 years, 5 years, something like that. I got started off just using WordPress. I've been learning PHP since about 2009. 2008, somewhere around there. So a lot of PHP, a lot of CSS, HTML, JavaScript, Angular, React, Vue, you name it, the whole 9 yards. If you have any questions about anything related to WordPress or PHP, WordPress development, WordPress plugins, SEO, you name it, I know a lot about all of it. So feel free to add me on LinkedIn. If you have any questions in the future, I'd be happy to answer anybody's questions. If you're working on a website or know somebody that needs a website, hit me up. I own my own company called Bizzle Designs. I guess I'll show that real quick. Yeah, so this is my website, and I've done many websites for people around Omaha and outside of Omaha even. Let's go ahead and get started. What we're here to talk about here is WordPress themes. I think I'll kick this off by just going to the WordPress theme repository because that's where a lot of people start. So here you can see all the free themes that are included with WordPress essentially for free. So if you just go to any WordPress instance and you start looking around for themes, you'll come across this repository and you can just install and activate one of a number of themes for free. It looks like we're up to 3,942 themes total for free that you can get in the WordPress repository. Now that's great. A lot of people might be thinking, okay, well, if there's so many free themes out there, literally thousands of them, then what's the point of even why do some people buy themes? And the bottom line is you kind of get what you pay for when it comes to WordPress themes. Now, some of the themes that you get for free right out of the gate are okay. But with that said, WordPress did start as a blogging platform, and many of the free themes are designed for people that just need a basic blogging website. Now, obviously, you can build a professional website with a free theme, and that's fine if you want to try and do that. However, I wouldn't recommend it, and it's not how I usually build themes for my clients. So where I normally start when I'm looking for themes is I'll start in ThemeForest. If you go to themeforest.net and then you go under WordPress, and I guess you could start with the popular items or whatever, but they obviously have all these categories and whatnot as well. You can find loads and loads and loads of themes. Now, some of them are expensive. They can cost $60, $70. I've never seen one higher than $80. But most of the times they're around $60 for a premium theme. Now you can find ones that are cheaper, like $39, $29, so on and so forth. It just depends. There's lots of different themes to choose from out there. Some of them are multi-purpose, some of them are not multi-purpose. Some of them are designed for some very specific use cases, others are not. Let's talk about all this because there's just so many options to choose from. Some of them have a page builder built into them, and some of them don't even. some of them are a page builder. Divi is a theme that is a page builder. It's a page builder and theme in one. I personally don't like that approach because I like those two things to be separate. So if I ever want to change my theme down the road for whatever reason, I should be able to do with that without having to lose my page builder. So yeah, so there's just lots and lots and lots of stuff going on there, and there's a lot to consider. Now, a lot of times you want to do this step, what we're talking about right now, like considering, okay, what theme am I going to use for this current website? We're going to, a lot of times you want to do this before you start working on a site. So you've spun up a WordPress site. You're like, okay, I know what the site's going to be about. This is a website for my company or this other company I'm doing work for, or the company that I work at. Maybe it's for a church. Maybe it's for a nonprofit organization, something like that. Maybe it's just a blog that you're starting it for yourself. Maybe you want to start selling arts and crafts online, whatever. There's lots of different reasons why you can create a WordPress site. Well, it's important to think about what separates those use cases in terms of functionality from each other, because that might dictate which theme you go with, because a lot of themes come with functionality. So for instance, let's say it's a restaurant. Let's say some new restaurant is opening up down the street. They need a website, and so they hire you or somebody and they're like, okay, well, build us a website. And so you're like, okay, well, let me figure out what theme I'm going to use for this website. So of course, what we want to do is just say, okay, well, let's see what's out there for restaurant themes. And what you'll notice is that there's a whole bunch of themes out here specifically for restaurants, right? Now, the reason I picked restaurant is because there's something very unique about restaurants that they need on their website that other websites don't necessarily need, and that is the ability to like list all the food items on their menu on their site, right? Now, I said food menu because I don't want to get you confused with like a WordPress, like a website menu or whatever, right? That's a totally different thing. I'm talking about like an actual food menu, like what's for lunch, what's for dinner, what's for breakfast, right? And so that website's going to want to list out like all their different items for all those things. Here's all of our breakfast menu items, here's all of our lunch menu items, maybe some appetizers, desserts, so on and so forth, right? And so a lot of these restaurant themes will come with what's called a custom post type, specifically for menu items and with categories already created for stuff like lunch and breakfast and dinner and dessert and appetizer and all these things, right? So that you don't have to worry about like getting a plugin after the fact that kind of does that same thing. There's no need to install a menu plugin or something when you've already got it built into your theme. And the same can be said for a bunch of stuff. So for instance, we're looking at this theme right here. You can see it says restaurant reservations, more payment options so people can pay you through your website, which these days during COVID is particularly important if you're a restaurant and you can't open your doors inside. You know what I mean? Like people can only get your takeout food. They're going to want a way to pay online so they don't have to pay when they get there. It seems like this theme right here might come with some functionality in it that allows the user to pay for their meal through the website, which is pretty good functionality for some people these days. You can see this one comes with a food delivery service, restaurant order management. That's cool. Open Table Ready. That's an app that you can install and create an account to do seat reservations through an app. So people don't have to call and reserve. They can just do it through the app, and then when they show up and their table's ready when they want it to be. And then restaurant dedicated pages, I'm guessing that's stuff like the menu and whatnot. So like this is the type of stuff that you're going to get from a premium theme that's designed for a very specific use case that you're not going to find necessarily when you're just looking through the regular WordPress free theme repository. These themes are more generic, they're general, and they're kind of designed to just be the look and feel of the site, and they normally don't have any functionality built into them. Where a lot of times these premium themes do have functionality built into them. And not only will they have that functionality built in, a lot of times they'll also come with premium themes in addition to that. So let's see here. If we scroll down this list of features here, Yeah, see, here's all the theme features. One-click demo install. That's cool. So that's got a bunch of content that you can like just click one button and it'll basically install all the demo content in there if you want to work from demo content instead of working from a blank slate. I personally prefer to start from a blank slate. I don't like having to go through and delete a bunch of demo content or edit a bunch of demo content. But for people that are just getting started, sometimes having some demo content to like throw in there real quick so that they can get their site looking exactly like what the preview on here looks like, that can be helpful. Cross-browser optimization, Google, I mean, you can just go down and down and down. WooCommerce ready, that means that there's features in the theme designed specifically for WooCommerce so that when you install WooCommerce, your shop page is all nice and pretty and looks good. You don't have to do any other customization to it. So what I tell people is think about what kind of site you're going to build. If you're going to build a simple site that's for your like mom's crafts or something like that, you really don't need to buy some premium theme. I would say maybe try and see what you can get for free out of one of these, because it's not really like you're not building a website for a serious business. However, if you are building a website for a serious business and you know you need some features for that business, I would say what you get, your bang for your buck, when you look at all the stuff that comes with one of these premium themes and how long it would take you to get all that same functionality into the website without this theme, with a free theme instead, it's not worth it. It's not worth it because you're talking about $60. I don't know what you guys charge per hour. I don't know how much you make per hour. I don't know what your time is valued at. My time starts at $75 an hour. So in order for me to be able to justify not spending $54 on this theme for a restaurant I need to build, I need to be able to find some way to pack all the functionality listed in this list down here in less than an hour into my site after I install the theme. And the chances of me being able to do that are very low, probably non-existent. It's probably not possible at all. So it just makes perfect sense to say, okay, well, let's start from a really good starting point, and just buy this theme for $54 and save ourselves a bunch of time and a bunch of headache, get it installed, activated, and then now, we've got a theme designed for a restaurant that comes with a bunch of features, and we're good to go. Okay, cool. So that kind of goes over features and what we're looking for in terms of functionality. I always tend to start there. For instance, I have a client who I won't name, who I just started a new project with. And it was very important for this client to have really, really, really strong SEO. And for the SEO purposes, we wanted to make sure we were using AMP, or that our theme was AMP ready or AMP compatible. And if you don't know what AMP is, that's fine. That's a whole nother conversation. It's a Google thing. It's basically just a way to make your site more like speedier, more responsive in terms of speed and performance on mobile devices, and like just creates a certain page format that always looks good on mobile and just loads really fast. So for people with 3G connections or whatever, if your phone's kind of slow, you want a page that loads really quick. You don't want to be sitting there staring at the loading screen for a minute while a bunch of fancy images and videos and stuff like that load onto the page. So what AMP does is it says, okay, well, you can still fancy stuff on your site, but we're also gonna be smart enough to know whether the user's on mobile, and if they are on mobile and their connection's kind of slow, we're not going to load up the regular page. We're going to load a simplified version of the page, just so you can get the content without maybe all the glitz and glamour, and your site, the page loads fast. Google likes that for SEO. Obviously, it's good for performance and it's good for your users. So in this case, I decided to, let me just go to my downloads here. I decided to go for this theme right here, Pen News, and notice how it says multi-purpose AMP WordPress theme. Now, it's designed originally to be like a publication website, so like magazine articles, a lot of news articles, stuff like that on there. That's not really what this client needs. Really what we're interested in is the AMP and then being performance optimized, and which is what this says right here, and then obviously SEO optimized as well. And so this theme kind of checks all those boxes for us, and so that's why I went with this. Now, I don't just look at the features on the page, obviously. However, I do. That is one of the things I do. I'll scroll through here and I'll see, okay, what are all the features? What are the things? What are the boxes that it checks in here? But more importantly, what you want to do is actually load up the live preview of the theme or a demo of some kind, and check out what it looks like in in a real life application. We'll just look at this default one, and we can load the site up, and we can see, okay, cool. So if we get this theme, this is kind of what we're gonna get. So right out the gate, I'm just gonna start pointing out some of the things that I'm seeing on this site, and kind of talk about whether or not it interests me, or whether what the value is there essentially. So right out of the gate, obviously this is definitely a publication style like demo. It is cool that we've got like kind of these like this header area that shows a bunch of articles and stuff. I really like that. I also like this static area on the right. It's like a giant panel that we can like open and close. My guess is that we can put whatever content we want in this panel. They've chosen to just put a giant list of all of the demos, I think, in here. So that's cool. And then our main menus up at the top. I like one of the more important things that I'll look at when I'm kind of shopping for a theme is I'll look at what the main navigation looks and feels like. The reason why that interests me is because I want to make sure. Well, let's just put it like this. I am already under the assumption that I'm going to have to do some kind of customization to this theme. So 9 times out of 10, actually more like 99 times out of 100, when I install and activate that theme, I'm also going to, at the same exact time, install and activate a child theme for this theme as well, with the foresight that I am going to need to do some customization, whether it be CSS or in the functions on PHP file or whatever. I'm going to need to tweak some things to get it 100% to where exactly I want it. Don't ever expect any theme to get you 100% of the way where you want your site to be. It's never going to happen. What you want to do is look for a site that just gets you as close to 100% as possible. 80, 85%, 90%, whatever. Have that theme get you as close to where you want to be as possible, with the understanding that you're still going to have to tweak some stuff once you get in there and start working with it. But one of the things that I do not like to customize, and I do not like to mess with if I can avoid it, is the main menu. Because a lot of times these menus are going to have a lot of fancy JavaScript in them. They're going to have a lot of CSS in them. They're usually fairly complex, and it's just not something you want to mess with. Changing colors and fonts and stuff like that in the rest of the page is relatively simple. But in the main menu, I prefer not to have to mess with the main menu. So I look at the main menu to make sure that I like the way that it looks and the way that it behaves. So I like how we've got these carrots. I like how it's basic and boxy. It kind of reminds me of a what's the Google standard? Can't think of it right now. I'm having a brain fart. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a design principle by Google. I can't think of it. I don't know why I can't think of it right now. But anyway, it kind of reminds me of that. So that's cool. Clean, simple, boxy. And then I like how the drop downs kind of like fade in and like animate downwards at the same time to give you this very slick, like presentation. So that's cool. Now the next thing I'll do is I'll say, okay, well, I like this menu, but something very important to me is mobile. I want to make sure that this website looks great on any mobile device. Now, most themes these days are going to be quote unquote responsive. So they're all going to adjust depending on what size device somebody's navigating on. But not everybody handles that the same. Not every theme handles that the same. For instance, like not everybody's going to have the same style hamburger menu when it goes responsive, or not everybody's going to do the logo the same way or put a search bar up there the same way or whatever. So what I want to do, what I like to do at this point is, you know, some of you may not know this little tip. If you right click, if you use Google Chrome, or actually if you use any modern browser and you right click anywhere on the page and you click on inspect, and a shortcut to get to this is F12, by the way, you'll get what's called, it'll probably open up like this on your browser if you've never done it before. So if you're doing it for the first time, it'll probably be down here on the bottom, or it might be off to the right over here like this. Either way, you're going to see all the HTML for the page and a bunch of CSS and stuff like that. For what I'm about to talk about right now, this stuff isn't important. However, just know that this tool is extremely handy. This is kind of like a web developer's you know, fork and knife, kind of like, you can't basically, we can't do anything without this for the most part. It makes life way easier. But the tool I'm looking for in particular is this guy right here. See how there's this icon right here that says toggle device toolbar? You can click that, and then what that'll do is it'll kind of create like a mobile device simulation mode. Here, hold on a second. Let me turn my lights on because I'm noticing that it's kind of dark here. Hold on. There we go. It's a little better. The sun went down like right as we were getting started, so I lost my sunlight coming in through my window. So we've got a simulator here, and then it allows us to like select which device we want to simulate. For the most part, I just stick to one of these iPhone ones. You don't really want to get into the tablets or whatever, but yeah, what it'll do is it'll squeeze down the viewport and cause the responsiveness to take effect. And then now what we can do is look at how it presents different areas of the top header area in mobile. So we could see here's our menu, right? And what they've opted for is a left slide out menu here with an X. So it slides from the left. Sometimes you'll see these slide from the right. Sometimes they won't even, sometimes they'll slide downwards. You'll see all sorts of crazy stuff. So you'll want to like look at this because that could be a deal breaker, right? If we like a theme and we say, okay, let's look at it on mobile, and we, for whatever reason, don't like how they're doing the main menu in mobile, that could be a deal breaker because what's our only other option? We go in there and customize it after the fact? No, that's going to take way too long and it's not worth our time. We want a theme that gives us most of what we want right out of the gate. I obviously, since I chose this theme for my client, I was okay with how they were doing this part, and I still am. So I like this. This is good. You know, they got a nice little slide out hamburger menu. The search bar pops down here. We can type in stuff and search. That's cool. And then we've kind of got this little like extra top menu up here too, which can be extremely handy. My guess is that this is probably controllable with widgets. And so we can put other things up here as well, like, for instance, contact information for the business, or hours of operation for the business, maybe the address or location of the business. And, you know, if it's like a restaurant, you'll probably want to show front and center where the restaurant's located when people load the website. So, so that's cool. So cool, we've checked our box. We've done this test check for the mobile menu and make sure it satisfies your needs. And that's the same for any theme, regardless of if you're thinking about paying for one, or if you're looking at one on here or whatever. You're going to want to go to one of these and, you know, go to preview or click a demo or whatever, right? And then, you know, right click, inspect, and then go to this and see how does it deal with, hold on, I feel like I did not click on the right thing there. Preview. I want the preview, but I want the full page preview. It's not going to give it to me, huh? And if I click this, it just, I would have thought it would get the other toolbar to go away. I don't normally browse for themes like this through that free website, but we'll just have to assume that this is what it's going to look like roughly. So, this is okay. It's got slide from the right menu with the hamburger menu. I think what they're assuming is that they're going to click on somewhere else here. I don't like how there's no close, like X or something that tells the user, that allows the user to close a menu once they've opened it. But yeah, so you see what I'm getting at is you can do this with anywhere you're looking at a theme. You can use the inspect tool to view what it looks like on mobile devices, tablets as well, you name it. So good. Make sure you check on mobile devices what your theme is going to look like. Obviously, check how long it's going to take to load the page. So refresh the page and see how fast is this theme loading. Now, there's a lot of other variables going on here, like where this demo is hosted, what their demo content is, might be designed, very specifically. So, loading, testing the loading in the theme demo. I would just say you want to do like a test to make sure it's not ridiculously slow, but I wouldn't go into like the milliseconds and say, oh, well, this one loaded in 2.3 seconds, but the other one loaded in 1.8 seconds. So I want the other one instead of this one because it beat it by 0.4 seconds or something. That's not very realistic. So I would not, I wouldn't go that route, that direction. Next thing you're going to want to do is look at some of these features and how they look. So you can see here that they usually have a tab here called features, and they have a whole bunch of pages designed to show off different features, which is really cool. So for instance, if I knew right out of the gate that I was going to need to put some kind of like shop on this website, then I would want to see, okay, well, what does the WooCommerce shop page thing look like? So you can see down here, they've got a shop. And so I could say, okay, let's go to shop and see what my shop's going to look like right out of the gate. Boom, this is going to show me roughly what I'm going to get out of the box. Now, this is all customizable. We could change any of this. But again, we want to try and get as close to what we'd like for an end product as possible. So this is okay. I don't know, black and white. And it's pretty basic. But at the same time, it's WooCommerce. You just kind of want it to be basic. You just want people to be able to shop. And again, you want to be able to make sure that you want to see what that shopping experience is going to look like at mobile as well. So go through all these things. Think about these things. Think about what features you're going to want to utilize, and go through some of this demo content and see like, okay, well, what do the different features look like? What do some of this stuff look like? If you're going to have videos on there, you're going to use the video playlist widget. You might want to see, okay, well, what does that look like? All right, well, this is the video playlist widget. Here's what it looks like when we're, running through a playlist, and it works. So we're good. So that's nice. All right, and you just want to continue to do this. Social counter. Boom. Here you go. Here's look at this social networks little widget thing they have here where you can click on any of the social widgets or social network stuff. You can like or follow on any of these things. Looks like it's got a whole bunch of social features in it. Looks like a lot of icons are built in, a lot of buttons. You basically do the social stuff any way you want, it looks like, in this theme. Okay, that's a win. My client specifically asked for some kind of a social feed on their site so that whenever they post stuff to Facebook or Instagram or whatever, it shows up on their website. Sweet. It looks like this theme is going to accommodate that for the most part. Let's see, what else have we got in here? Popular category, weather. What is weather? Sweet. So they got a weather widget, and this is what it looks like. So if I want to show the weather on my website, I have this to choose from, or I can not use it, whatever. Another thing to think about when you're looking at this giant array of content that's usually in these demo pages is you want to look at these demos with a grain of salt. So right now, there's a lot of content on this page. Like there's tons of stuff going on here. We would have to have a lot of posts in our website, categorized a lot of different ways. We'd have to have all this social stuff set up. We'd have to do a lot of adding of content to get our site to look like this. But we don't have to make our site look like this. Just because this is what the site looks like in the demo doesn't mean that's what you have to make your site look like once you use the theme. So for instance, I'm using this theme for actually a pest control company, not for a magazine publication company or something like that. So my site's, when I use this theme, my site's not going to look anything like this because my client doesn't have like a whole ton of articles they want to publish. I didn't get this theme because my client writes articles. I got it because it's AMP ready, and because it's clean and it's got a lot of features in it and it'll do the job. But realistically, what's going to happen when I go in here and start making pages, my homepage is probably going to look dramatically different than this. I'm probably just going to put a slider at the top with some main images and a little bit of content underneath there that talks about the company, and then some lead generation tools underneath that, and then that's it. So there's not going to be all these articles and stuff splattered all over the place. So make sure when you're looking at these themes, you do it with a little bit of understanding and creativity and imagination in your mind, because you don't want to look at something like this and say, oh, well, this isn't the type of website that I'm trying to build, and then just write it off like, oh, well, this theme isn't for me because my client or the site that I'm getting ready to build doesn't have a bunch of posts on there, isn't going to be making a bunch of posts and writing a bunch of content and stuff on there. That doesn't mean this theme isn't for you. That just means that when you look at this demo, you need to do it with some imagination and imagine, okay, well, what would it look like if, we only had the header with this menu style here, and then we didn't have all of these different blog article automatic content widgets here, right? What if we took all that out and started putting our own stuff in there? Then what would it look like? And so that's what I did when I looked at it, which is why I bought it. But as somebody who's not that experienced with this stuff, might make that mistake or that assumption of looking at this thing being like, oh, that's not the type of site I'm trying to make, and then pass and move on to another one, even though this theme is actually a really good one. And they have other ways to look at, they have other demos as well. So we can open up this thing over here and say, okay, well, let's see what a different demo would look like. Boom, see, here you go. So this is more like what a regular business site would look like. You have this kind of big hero image area up here, and then like a, little about us or what we do area underneath that. And then, a video to talk about, show off some stuff that they've done, and then their projects, a list of the projects. So this is a much more like standard layout, but it's still the same theme. It's the same exact theme. It's just different configuration of the same theme. A lot of times what happens when you buy these premium themes is you'll get like a giant settings area in the WP admin area. There'll be a place called theme options or theme settings or whatever. And it'll usually be like sometimes hundreds of settings. What is your primary color, secondary color, tertiary color? What do you want the font to be for the menu? What do you want to be the font to be for your body area? What do you want the font to be here and there and everywhere? Is like a jillion places to set fonts, a jillion places to set colors, different header configurations, a place to upload your logo. I mean, it's just like hundreds of settings in there. And so all we're seeing when we switch between these different demos is we're just seeing different combinations of configurations in the settings panel to create just a different type of website with the same theme. And anytime you see a theme that's not explained, that's described as a multi-purpose theme, a lot of times that's what you're getting. Is you're getting a theme that's just like extremely customizable with a ton of settings that you can make work for almost any occasion. or any type of site rather. So here you can see this is like an enterprise site, whatever. This is like basically a startup company website. Again, it's the same theme, just different settings. So you can see they've got the menu is off to the right now, and the logo's off to the left. And this other one, it was kind of like that, but they were like boxed in into the middle instead of being full width or whatever. So again, you got to use your creativity. But what I'm guessing is that when we inspect even this demo, we're probably going to get a menu that's similar to what we saw earlier. And that's exactly what we see. You can see the same exact mobile slide out from the left menu that we saw in the other demo is in this demo as well. And my guess is that it will look the same on all of these examples. Yep, it sure does. So so that's cool. I mean, it's you're getting almost a whole bunch of themes in one when you get one of these more expensive multi-purpose ones. And again, I'm not trying to talk you guys into having to pay for your themes. I'm just saying these are the things that I look for when I'm trying to figure out what theme I'm going to use on a site. What type of site am I building? What are the main like points of interest for the client or the situation, right? Some websites are going to be accessed primarily through desktop, and some websites are going to be accessed primarily through mobile. So if you know a lot of the clients or a lot of the users rather that are going to go to that website are going to be on a mobile device because the website is, let's see, if it's a restaurant, most of the traffic is going to be from a phone because a lot of times what's happening is that people are sitting on their couch, hungry, they want to order some food. Like, what does this place have? They go to their website, they look at their menu, they're going to be on their phone 9 times out of 10. So if it's a restaurant, you want to make sure that you've got a theme that looks good on mobile. If it's a website for like, I'm trying to think of if it's geared primarily towards older people and it's a website that's got blog articles for like tech people, most of the people are going to be on desktop because tech people work on a laptop or on their computer and they're probably going to go to the website from their computer, not their phone. So those are things to think about, right? If we know a lot of our users are going to be on mobile, we want to make sure we've got something like this where it's AMP ready, it's performant, it's fast, it's responsive, and those are like its key features, and then everything else comes second after that. Um, this would be a good theme in that scenario. So some themes check like all the boxes, some themes check some of the boxes, and you just kind of like have to pick and choose and look for um, like the proper features or the proper stuff rather. Are there any questions so far? I've been rambling for a little while now, so we're about 45 minutes in, almost 45 minutes in, but definitely 30 minutes in. Now's a good time to stop and ask questions. My guess is people here are starting a WordPress site or considering starting a WordPress site. Maybe they're trying to learn a little bit about it before they go and get into the WordPress stuff. Maybe somebody's already started and they're at this point where they're trying to choose a theme and they don't know which one to pick. Ask away. Ask any questions you might be having about themes that you're looking for. You can use the chat area to ask a question, or you can use the question and answer area to ask a question. Or you can also, if you have a microphone, you can request to talk. Okay, no questions. I expected at least one. are the themes you can browse in WordPress that have costs the same as the ones on the site you just showed us. Wow. No. So themeforest.net is in no way, shape, or form associated with WordPress. They sell themes even for stuff that's not WordPress. So a lot of times when you're shopping for premium themes, these are third-party. This is third-party stuff. You can't shop for third-party themes that cost money right in WordPress. If you're probably talking about, okay, well, what if I'm in the WordPress theme area, right? I think I have another website up that I can jump into, and I don't think they'll mind if I show the back end of their site. Okay, so we're in here in the back end of WordPress, and we go to Appearance and Themes. And so you're saying, okay, well, if I want to add a new theme, what it pops up is this big browser area where we can start looking through all the different themes that are available in here. These themes that show up in here are the same themes that show up in the WordPress theme repository. So those themes are the same as, let's see if I can get back to where I was earlier. Here, when you go to wordpress.org/themes, this list of themes here is going to be the same list of themes that show up in here. But you will never be able to find, well, first of all, I don't think any of the themes that show up in this WordPress admin area cost money. So you're asking to have costs the same as the ones on the site you showed us. Yes. So none of these will ever cost money, but almost all the ones on Theme Forest do cost money. But these themes in here, most of them, actually, I would probably argue all of them, or maybe a better way to say this is none of them will have the amount of features, the amount of work put into them as the premium ones from themeforest.net or from anywhere else for that matter. Elegant Themes or something like that. Like when you have to pay for a theme, the understanding is that the reason you're paying for a theme instead of just using what's free out there is because you want more than what you could get out of these themes here. These themes are fairly basic. So you're just going to get the ability to upload your logo, put a hero image somewhere, change some menu items, add some pages and some articles, and that's it. So if you want to, like I said earlier, if you want a basic theme, finding a theme in here is fine. But if you're building a WordPress site that's supposed to be like a big professional industry standard style website, you're going to want to buy a theme, in my opinion. You don't have to, obviously, but I think it would be very beneficial for you to consider buying a theme. So are any of the free themes WooCommerce ready? Yes, I do believe some of them are. If we go into if we go in here and just type in WooCommerce, it'll show you a bunch of themes that are ready for WooCommerce. So the answer there is yes. Is it a one-time cost? Yes. When you buy a theme on ThemeForest, you pay for it one time, so it's just $60 one time. However, according to their rules, it is a one-site license. So the understanding there is that you're only going to use this theme on one site. However, with that said, there's really no way for them to control how many sites you put the theme on. So the way they do it is some of these premium themes will have a place for you to put an activation code in. And all that activation code does is it allows you to update the theme straight from within the WordPress website instead of having to go to themeforest.net to download a newer version later and do more of like a manual theme update. And so kind of the way it works is like, okay, well, you can only put it on one site. You use the activation code. If you use the activation code on more than one site, then they'll know about it, right? Because every time you put it on another site, it hits their server to authenticate the activation code, and their program will be able to tell if you've done that on another site yet or not. So if you want to be able to update the theme automatically or whatever, like just from within WordPress without having to go download all the files on there, you're going to need to use the activation code, because that's how that works. That's how they allow you to do it through WordPress, is with the activation code. And then you can only use the activation code on one site. And a lot of times what they'll do is like lock down features unless the activation code is put into. But if you know WordPress development, there's ways to get around that. But yeah, the understanding is that it's a per site license, so $60 per site for one of these bigger ones that I've been showing you. But it is a one-time cost, so if you're only building one site, you only have to pay that $60 one time. It's not a monthly fee. Kimberly, you asked earlier, online fundraising ? I'm not exactly sure what you're asking there. My assumption is that you are trying to figure out what's the best way to allow people to like send you money through the website, whether it be through donations or purchases. I don't know. There's lots of different ways to do fundraising, so I don't know exactly which method you're going for here. Yes, what features should a template feature for donations? Well, that just depends on how you're trying to manage those donations. And are you trying to manage them through Venmo? Are you trying to manage them through PayPal, through Square? There's lots of different payment gateways to receive money through, so that's going to be a consideration. Yeah, so PayPal. Yeah, so you can. You're probably not going to find a theme that's designed specifically for allowing people to send you donation money through PayPal. But with that said, PayPal has widgets that are essentially code, like little iframe embeds things, and you can put them on any page in WordPress. You don't even have to get a theme that provides that feature to you to make that happen on your site. You can do that regardless of what theme you use. But with that said, it might be worthwhile, like if you're, say, doing donations for like a community charity thing or something like that, you might want to go in here and just say, hey, what's in here for charity? Boom, here you go. Here's a bunch of charity style, charity foundation, charity boom. They might have functionality or features in here that you didn't think of before that might be nice. So there you go. I mean, there's definitely themes in here for that kind of thing. And then I would do the same in here as well. I would type in charity as well, or yeah, see, boom, charity, 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 boom. So yeah, but again, these aren't going to have any like donation features built in. Now, I would be willing to bet that these will. Here you can see donation system built into this first one right here. So you would want to research like, okay, what is this donation system? How does it work? What does it work with? What does it integrate with? Is it easy to manage? And then base your theme purchasing decision on that. Yeah. Yeah, you're very welcome. Very welcome. Are there any other questions? A lot of times what I'll do, just a little pro tip here, when I'm kind of auditioning my themes that I'm selecting from, what I'll do is I'll end up getting like a bunch of tabs open, right? So I'll like end up here, and then I'll say, okay, well, let me just skim through a whole bunch of stuff. So I might like control click on this one to open it up in a new tab, and then start previewing what this one looks like. And then if I like it, I'll leave it open, and I'll say, okay, this one's cool, but let's go back to my list and see what else there was to choose from. So then I'll go in here and I'll say, okay, well, let's see what this one looks like. And so then I'll control click on that one and then go to live preview and then kind of look at this one. So, and then put them side by side. You know what I mean? So you could flip back and forth between the two and be like, oh, okay, well, this one, you know, has these navigation where it just like animates a line above it. And then this one has this like little traveling, like little short underlined thing that like animates between them. That's pretty cool. So yeah, different strokes for different folks, I guess. And then you just kind of want to see like what all they have going on in here and just put them side by side. You know, maybe you want to compare what they both look like on mobile. Okay, well, let's take this one and shrink it down to a mobile size like that. And then let's take this other one and do the same thing like that. And now we could do a true side-by-side test of what both of these websites are going to look like on mobile. And we can see this one has like an overlay style menu as opposed to the slide out stuff that we saw earlier. And then this one has the slide out from the left option, right? So there's two different ways to create like a mobile menu experience, and it's all about your preference. What do you think your users are going to like the most? So that's something that I'll do a lot too when I'm trying to like narrow down my selection and make like a very educated purchasing decision on the theme. Are there any other questions? Another thing to look at when you're looking at themes, just so you guys know, is you want to, on this main page here where it kind of summarizes everything that's going on, some stuff to look at here is this last update and the created date. If the created date is extremely recently, so this one was literally created like 2 weeks ago, okay, that makes me a little bit sketchy because that means that this theme has not been through the ringer. It's not tried and true and tested, in my opinion. So some of the times you'll like get some of these themes that look really cool. Their demo's really fancy, but it's only been around for 2 or 3 weeks, so not a lot of people have tested it out. So now you end up becoming like the guinea pig for this theme, and you may not have realized that, you know, right out of the gate. If you didn't look at this, you might not have realized that you're kind of a guinea pig because it's only been out for 2 weeks. If you don't want to be a guinea pig, you know, you might want to look for something that's been around a bit longer, but you always want to check this last update. The reason why you want to check the last update is you want to make sure that the theme developer is keeping the theme up to date. WordPress is constantly updating. Plugins are constantly updating. If the theme isn't being updated on a regular basis, that's usually not a good sign. Gutenberg optimize. I normally don't put a lot of thought into that. The compatibility sometimes could be an important thing. You know, if you're going to use Elementor as a page builder, and this says it's compatible with Elementor, that's a good thing, you know. 2 questions. What class should we take next? And do the mobile optimizations look similar in Android and iOS? I'll answer the second question first. Yes, they'll look similar in Android and iOS because it's all the web. So it's just, I mean, obviously it'll look different in Safari than it will in Chrome, but you can use Chrome on an iOS. There will be some elements that'll look slightly differently, but not the main elements. So something that'll look different will be like components, right? So like a select drop down will look a little different in Safari than it will in Android, but it's very slightly different. I mean, it's not going to be that much more different. What class should we take next? Okay, so first of all, this is not a class. This is a webinar. if you were like actually taking a real class from me, this would be much more structured. But it depends on what you're trying to learn. We do talks on all kinds of things at WP Omaha. If you want to learn more about WP Omaha, you want to watch some more talks, you can go to youtube.com and search for WP Omaha or WordCamp Omaha, and you can see some of the talks that we've done in the past. And then obviously YouTube has tons of content on WordPress and all sorts of things. So, YouTube is a very good way to learn all kinds of things about this stuff. But if you wanted to learn specifically from me or from WP Omaha, or from people in Omaha, I'd recommend going to our YouTube channel and subscribing to that. We only need 11 more subscribers until we can get our custom URL. So we would appreciate some subscribers there. Also, you can go to WordCamp Omaha. And if you've never heard of WordCamp Omaha, it is a yearly WordPress convention that's been happening in Omaha since I think 2016, or no, 2014, sorry. 2014 was the first WordCamp Omaha, and then we've done them every year after that until 2020, and the only reason we didn't do one this year is because of COVID, obviously. Yeah, but you can see talks from WordCamp, previous WordCamps, or WordCamp Omahas here. And then obviously if you're going to be doing stuff with WordPress for an extended period of time, definitely keep your ear open and keep a lookout for announcements about WordCamp Omaha 2021. Hopefully all this COVID stuff will be over by next August, or we usually do them in August, the WordCamp Omahas. I would say stay tuned for that, and try to get engaged in WordCamp Omaha. It's extremely cheap convention. I think it's like, if you pay full price for a ticket, it's $45 for 2 days. And each day has I don't even know how many talks, 3 tracks. Each track usually has about 7 talks. 7 times 3 is 21. That's just one day. So in one day, there's 21 talks. However, you can only see one talk at a time, obviously. So you'll see 7 1-hour or 45-minute long talks in a day, the first day, and then the second day you'll see a bunch more. So you can see, for $45 you can get close to 8 or 9 hours of WordPress education in person, with Q&A and everything. Not to mention food too, and a bunch of goodies. We give out shirts every year and swag. You get thermos one year, some stickers, pins, pens, you name it. There'll be sponsors there with tables that give out free stuff, frisbees, and all sorts of cool stuff. So yeah, keep an eye out for WordCamp Omaha. And then if you want to look through some of these watch some of these previous talks, there's a bunch of them here. All right, cool. Well, it looks like we're at the end of our hour. Like I said at the beginning of this talk, my name is Rob Ruiz. If you have any questions in the future, please look me up on LinkedIn. The name is Rob Ruiz. Feel free to add me if you have any questions. Shoot me a message. And then also stay tuned to wpomaha.org for any of our meetups. And then last time I tried to do this, it didn't work because something was wrong with Meetup, but I think that has been fixed now. It has, yes. So you can join our Meetup group for free if you have a meetup.com account, which is free to have. If you don't have one, you can create one, and then look for WP Omaha and just join our group. We have 865 members in our group. And then obviously whenever we organize a meetup, you'll get notified that a meetup is coming up, and then you can opt to RSVP for it or whatever. Cool. Thanks a lot, everyone. We're going to end it there. Hope you guys learned a lot about themes and how to choose them and what's all involved in that process. And I look forward to seeing you all again at a future webinar or meetup, or DoSpace is doing the code community right now. So if you want to get involved in that, yeah, you'll see me around. And you're all very welcome. Thank you.